Robert Duvall wrote The Apostle. He also directed The Apostle. He probably had producers that helped him do it. Yeah, he wrote it and directed it. It's a 1997 film. It was one of the films that I watched before I ran off to Hollywood the first time. A great movie. Robert Duvall has been known to be connected to Sandy Meisner's Playhouse. It's called the Sandy Meisner Technique. Sanford Meisner was an acting teacher that Robert Duvall used in the neighborhood playhouse in New York City. It's an offshoot of the method in a certain sense. It's not the actor studio exactly. It's a neighborhood playhouse. But Sandy Meisner did know about Lee Strasberg as well as Stella Adler and the rest. But he had his own technique. And they believed that acting should never be a line reading. That was the number one thing Sandy Meisner believed. You should never have a line reading when you're acting. You don't know how it's going to come out. It's governed by instincts and some mysterious force inside your gut that tells you something. An emotion takes over, or some kind of spiritual thing takes over, or whatever it may be. It can be anything. But it's not a line reading. You don't know how to say it until it comes out. It's a spiritus mundi is what I call it. And Meisner did repetition. You know, your hair is brown, 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 your eyes are blue, your hairs are brown, your eyes are blue, your hair is brown, your eyes are blue, your hairs are brown, until all of a sudden there was a break in the way that you were saying your hairs are brown, your eyes are blue, your hairs are brown. He also did a thing where it was provocative. He'd say something mean, like you're ugly, and it would cause a reaction inside you, and you would react, and that's what he was going for. He was going for some kind of emotional change, some kind of gut reaction, not a line reading. The method, Lee Strasberg didn't do line readings either. They're all against line readings. Line readings is when you have it memorized on exactly how you're going to say it. Kind of a Jim Carrey kind of thing. But Jim Carrey probably uses more stand-up while he's acting. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not a technique kind of thing. It's a mysterious, instinctive thing. And Robert Duvall shows that technique in The Apostle. He shows how Sanford Meisner helped him be a great, great actor. The Sandy Meisner technique is taught in Santa Monica. And I don't know if I'm going to recall that guy's name. He's got a kind of a weird one. But he has his whole school in Santa Monica in a airplane hangar. Anthony Hopkins sometimes visits him. Anthony Hopkins, the great actor, Sir Anthony Hopkins, will visit them in Santa Monica and talk about acting, and Sandy Meisner and all of that stuff. So it's letting go of the line reading. You don't know what's coming up. All of a sudden, instinct takes over. You learn it through repetition. You learn repetition in saying things. You learn what repetition is like, right? Because repetition has a sound. Then you learn to break that repetition. Does that make sense? You do it over and over and over again. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are blue. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are... You got to do it with a scene partner. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are blue. So that they repeat. And then there's a shift. And Sandy goes, okay. And he starts to explore that shift. Because you can't repeat things the same way too many times. And it was all about the Meisner technique. He's a great teacher. They did have to remove his vocal cords because of cancer. So he would eat tuna fish on crackers so that he could burp. Sandy Meisner. He burp talked. Okay, class. This is what I would do. That's kind of how he sounded. Very interesting acting teacher. But he had a microphone right next to his mouth when he did it. And sometimes on his throat. He had a technique in talking in burps because he had no vocal cords. Oh, he talked like so he talked in burps like that. You could understand Meisner technique. That's how he sounded. All right. That's how Sandy Meisner talked after the cancer. There we go. Well, I put it down for, I don't know, maybe it was 600 calories. I don't know, but it's this thing right here. And I'm gonna have to read to see what it is. This is known as ready meal with crackers. It's seafood salad. So I put down crab. The seafood has fish protein, pollock, Pacific, shrimp, wheat, starch, sugar, egg, white, modified, some kind of rice, wine, and crab. It does have crab, so I put it down for crab and crackers on the calorie count, but that's about the size of it. I would say that this could be, I don't know, maybe 800. Possibility. Tom Thumb. Crab salad is pretty much what it is. Right here. Has like mayo dressing. I was thinking about Philip Seymour Hoffman the other day. It's sad that he had to go out kind of like a rock star in death kind of thing, you know? But the drugs, they used him all up to the point where his heart stopped beating. He was a pretty good guy. But he returned back to something that he should never have returned back to. And he had children. There you are. He had children. They found him with 2 envelopes of heroin in some cheap Soho hotel. All that money, all the fame, and the children, and the beautiful wife. Doesn't make any sense. It's called the Cosmic Blues. Janis Joplin talked about it. You get everything that you want, the whole universe. You get everything. Everything's provided for you. You even have, let's say, a ball washer, you know, someone that washes your balls. You have everything that you want. You could have someone bring a certain library book to you. You could, no, I gotta go, but, and then you just waste it all away to feel good with heroin. Now that Linda's gone, the thing I have to say is, with an alcoholic, they're very good at pretending like they're a sophisticated person. They're the best at it. Hey, listen, what was that dude's name? Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah, he had a problem with it. They're very good at pretending like they're sophisticated. Nope. But they pretend like it. And man, on the phone, you couldn't tell the difference in a million years. And there's a lot of like going to the back of the trunk and there being a case of beer and sipping on the beer all day long. You can't stomach that by, watching it or being an enabler. If you're allowing it to happen, then you're an enabler. You don't have to buy it. I never bought, listen, with Linda, the entire 3 years that we were together, I never bought her a case of beer. I might have bought her a tall boy because she asked for it. But I never bought her a case of beer. Not in the entire 3 years. And every night, every other night for sure, we were getting that $19.73 case of beer at Walmart called Bud Ice. Every other night. She'd go through 15 of them a day and she'd be good. It's 24 beers on a case, I believe is what they do. 24 beers in a case. It's 12 and 12. So it's 24 beers in a case. So 12 of them would definitely be gone in a day. And she got up to 15 one time and she was able to cut back. The other day when I talked to her, she said she was doing 5 beers. And she's calmed down with everything else. Well, I think one time she smoked a little weed and I got very upset. Very, very upset. And now I'm at the point where I'm a type of guy that I need my wife to be at least close to my bed at the end of the night. At least close there. And not another man's bed. I just can't do it. I can't handle it. I tried to with Linda. I tried to for off and on for 3 years. She lived with me, I think, it was a stretch of 6 months at the Carrollton place. And I don't even know how long she lived with me at the place I'm at now. Maybe it was 9 months. I don't know. I'd have to do the math. You'd have to look on the vlog to find out exactly if it was 6 months or 9 months or whatever. But it was never a complete year straight. And I can't handle it. I can't handle it. No, I cannot handle her. Now, if she was at a woman's house or a woman's apartment, I could. There's a possibility I could. But because it's a man and because I was raised Baptist, there's just no way. I'd have to move on. I just couldn't do it with anyone. It just wouldn't work. The thing I ask her when I'm on the phone is, where are you? Well, I'm in Dustin's bed. Okay. Are you sleeping in the bed next to him? It's that kind of thing. And, I can't handle that at all. I don't approve. I just can't handle it. And with Angel, my second wife, I don't even want to know. At that point, because Angel and I are divorced, and then Angel and I were legally married. Angel changed her name to Angel Spivey. She changed it on everything, even up to the SS card. Well, I guess we call it the SC card. No, you'd call it the SS card. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she changed it on pretty much everything, and she was Angel Spivey, and there's no way, So after the divorce, it's best just to be like, okay. Now she did do this the first time when we were at the Carrollton place, and I'd go and do my jogging thing and all this stuff, and then finally she'd stay a week, and then, then she'd go back, and it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm at the point now in my life where I'm about to turn 50 in like two months maybe. Let's see, we're in May, then June, and then July, about 2 months. It's going to have to be a woman that's going to be willing to be faithful. Now, if she's on her own and has her own apartment, I can deal with that. Or if she's living with a female roommate, I can deal with that. But if it's another man and that's their apartment no more for me. I can't deal with that. And that's painful because her alcoholism is painful. So she wants to balance the scales. She wants to balance the scales and say, deal with it, because I have to deal with my own alcoholism, meaning Linda's alcoholism. I do not drink beer. I do not drink liquor. I do not drink wine. I have 1 drink a year at the most. At the most. I don't do it. I don't smoke and I don't drink. And when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm okay with letting it go. Now, if she were to stop drinking, sobriety would take over. God would be able to work in her life. She'd probably get her own apartment and she could be independent, and then she could function, and maybe have a relationship. But because of the pain of the alcoholism, I'm not going to take over the pain. And the reason I did put up with it for so long is because I was looking for the abuse. Remember, I was extremely abused as a child by my father, mentally abused mostly. It was mental, but it was physical as well. There was physical abuse involved here and there, but it was always mental abuse every day, or any conversation we had. Even today, there's a slight sense and a hint of mental abuse, a joke. It's usually a joke that I have to hear, and it comes in as mental abuse. So I'm looking for the abuse. I'm searching for that abuse. Where is it? And maybe I didn't get enough of it, so I moved on. I didn't get enough abuse, so I moved on. But with her alcoholism, it's a dependency. It's her dependency. It's an extreme weakness. But the weight of, well, I'm at some other guy's house, and where are you exactly? That kind of thing. I have to move away. I love Clean and Sober, Michael Keaton movie. I love Hollywood movies about being sober. But when it comes to the woman that I'm supposed to love, and I looked at Linda as a wife, at another man's house overnight, no more. No more. And that goes for any woman that I'd be with. And if that's how marriage is supposed to be, if I call up my pastor, Josh Smith, and say, hey, Josh, is Andrea staying at some strange guy's house tonight? That, let's say he's whatever age, I guess Josh would be probably at least going on his 50s or around that time. Is she staying the night at some other guy's house? Like every night for a month, And he'd say no. Because Josh won. Josh Smith won. He's a pastor of the church. He won. Ricky Primrose, he won. They won. They have their marriages. They won. They're victorious. Okay? I lost. And I have to say, okay, I lost. Maybe I had too many pizzas, There's a reason why. But I do not drink alcohol. I do not smoke cigarettes. And I don't do any other type of drugs, not even aspirin. So did I really lose? I don't know. For now, maybe. But who cares? I got to pick up these people's Whataburgers because they're very quick and intelligent. They don't have any White Claw, and then they don't want cigarettes. They want I Am Blue shorts. I don't know. But I'm 6 foot, though. I'm basically 6 foot tall, 5'11" and a half. It's like dialogue. So it's really I am tall. Relatively, I'm tall. And I have 3 children. It's not I Am Blue, it's L and M Blue. And anyway, that's what it is. They're gonna get some water. We're gonna get them 4 waters. They didn't have the White Claw, so they chose just to get water. So looks like they're getting water. Okay, so we've got the 1 and we got the 2. Oops, so sorry. And then we got the 3. These are gonna be different on the bottom. We're jumping the 4. All right, we're going to drop off your 4 waters and L and M cigarettes, the blue ones that are short. We'll be there in 7 minutes, 10:05 in the PM. Also gonna have Slim Jim. And Slim Jim, we don't know. I'm gonna look it up. This is a Slim Jim Monster. I'm gonna look up the calorie count. If you're a millionaire or even a billionaire, methamphetamine can still kill you, but you may stand in outdoors. If you're like, let's say you make $100,000 a year, which is what it used to do, this is where meth puts you. That's a result of what is known as methamphetamine. It'll get you. Now, a millionaire can end up that way too, because when you are a methamphetamine user, when you wake up in the morning, all you want is meth. You worship meth. When you go to bed at night, all you want is meth. Your life becomes only about getting methamphetamine unto the point where it kills you. That's why God puts you out on the street, is because of your addiction. He'll put you out on the street so that you won't be able to get the meth as easy. Now, some people that are billionaires, they'll be able to get the meth and still stay indoors for quite a bit of time, but it can still get them too. But usually it won't completely, get them kicked out because they have $1 billion. But it becomes, you pretty much worship meth, and it's horrible. And that's why the police get involved, because DEA does not want our country to be destroyed by methamphetamine. And that's another reason why I'm writing Skinny Pete and Friends, a sequel to Better Call Saul, which I need to write that note card down. I was going to do it last night. We're going to get to the next note card to get to the next scene. I'll tell you something as a father, because I'm a father of 3, and I'll turn it over this way. I'm a father of 3, and I raised David up to 5 years old, or pretty much almost 6. Elizabeth up to 5 years old, and then Gwendolyn up to 3 months. Okay, so I raised the kids to a certain degree, up to kindergarten, pretty much. Now, when a wife leaves and takes her kids, it's a different type of abandonment. It's different. It's hard to describe. It probably is somewhat how it feels in hell when you're abandoned by God and everything. It's a very quiet abandonment, and it's very disgusting. It's not comforting at all. It hurts. It's painful. You scream out. You scream out. You want to see those kids again, and you want to make sure everybody's okay. So you thirst to make sure. You're mostly thirsting for safety with the kids on a lot of this. I'm trying to get this thing where it'll work here for a second. No, it's not that way. It's going to be shift and park. Let me see. Let's try to explain this. What happens if you continue on? So I think I did not continue on until 13 months. I think it was 13 months after Angel had left, and then I met somebody, which was Linda. I'll get through all this right here. This kind of reminds me of, oh my gosh, these guys are crazy. These guys are full on crazy, but they do this stuff all night. Get right here. Just insane. Okay, they're the workers. Listen, nothing's harder in the world. It's like losing an appendage. It's horrible. When you recover and you finally meet that other person, whether they have problems, and everyone has problems, whether they're a drunk or an alcoholic, that's a problem. Whether they're a drug addict, that's a problem. Or maybe they have other type of addictions. We all have wonderful little traits, and we don't know what they all are. But sometimes they remind us, the other relationship person or the other person in the relationship reminds you, hey, this is your problem. And then you're like, okay, I see. So you figure out your problems. And then when that relationship ends, it's a different type of feeling, but it's nothing. It's nothing compared to when you come home and your wife and kids are gone. Now, I find some comfort in saying that every relationship ends in divorce. I hate to say that. Because let's say you're married for 80 years. Okay, somehow you get married and it lasts for 80 years. There goes the boys in blue. The whole night you hear this stuff. Who knows what's going on? It could be a domestic case. You never even know. Okay, here. You're married for 80 years. Let's say you get married at 15. Okay, so you got 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95. You finally made it to your 80th, reunion. And then Mrs. White dies. That's a form of divorce. Because Mr. White no longer has Mrs. White. Or let's say Mr. White dies. That's still a form of divorce. And a lot of times the other one will hang on for 6 months or so and they lay down and die. Now, I've heard some truth that when you're married, you live longer. I've heard some things like that. I don't know all the facts on it. That may be not true, though. That may not be true. There may be guys that are single and they live a very long time. But I have been married 2 times legally. So we're just going to say 2 times. And I've been in a relationship with a lady for 3 years. That would be Linda. So the feeling that I have now is probably a feeling that I should have had during when my wife left, but she took the kids. That was a dramatic abandonment that hurt, and I went through a lot of suffering and lost an incredible amount of weight. I think it was like 50 pounds. I got to 170. It was one thing of Jason's Deli a day, and that was it. That's all I would have. I'd make sure I wouldn't have anything else. And then I would go on the jog, and I did that until pretty much through this whole summer. I think the heat does weird things to you, though. The heat does. But anyway, it's different. It's different when your wife leaves with the kids. I had 3 kids. It's very painful. Because you come home to your home, and like no one's around. It's a weird feeling. It's almost like death or something. You feel like a ghost. Then you get into another relationship, and all of a sudden there's attachment, and you're like, we can get through this, Because I always ask myself, could I go on, And the first thing I ask myself is this is it, is this it? That's the first thing I ask. I always say, is this it, And you never know. I think ultimately you find out in the long run that there's a higher power involved in regaining relationship. There's always a higher power involved. And if you cannot surrender to that higher power, then you can't move forward. So you have to find a way through the struggle. If you're separated or divorced, whatever's going on, you have to find a way to surrender to the higher power and then just coast through. We may be in Los Angeles by September. We'll have to find out. We'll have to see how much we weigh, and we'll have to see how much money we have to deal with. That'll be this September coming up. Oh yes, got up. You finally woke up, kitty. The whale shark tunnel. Finally woke. You finally awoke. Here he goes. The whale shark kitty. This is his whale shark tunnel. Here you can see he likes to crawl all the way in there. There's usually catnip at the bottom right there. It's got little fins, all kinds of funness. Lots of fun. All right, kitty. No Skinny Pete and friends today, but I am going to make the note card. I don't know if I'm going to vlog it, but tomorrow. But I am making the note cards right now as we speak. So the note card will go down. I know it's been some time. Got those individual toilet papers. And let's see, this. Got some bananas. See the bananas thing. Whale shark tunnel. And then we got these. I love these. This is like one of my favorite foods. I love it. I like putting hot sauce in it, eating it as a meal. I don't know how many calories. Whole mushrooms. I don't know, maybe 100 for all of them. A can of spinach is 50 calories. Kitty likes the cheese, so he gets a quarter of it. He does like this stuff. I'll show it to you in a minute. So he really goes after it. Put these over here. And yeah, he heard me. Yeah, Kitty, we got the good stuff. We got the good stuff. He's all ears. I was kind of mean to him. I'm sorry I was mean to you, Kitty. I know, look, here he goes. Right through the legs. How could have I been so mean? Did you forget? Was it a bad dream? Look at that belly. Yeah. He has scratched me a few times, though. Maybe it was just something I had to do. These are delights. They are Fancy Feast. They're with cheddar. So it's Fancy Feast Delights with cheddar. It is grilled. So they do grill it. It's tuna and cheddar cheese feast and gravy. Right here. So we're only giving him one. Mostly because I don't want to overfeed him. This kitty, we both have to get on a diet. This 170 thing is going to be very tough. Very, very tough. I'm at about 1,900 calories for today because of snacking. So I did run for 2 hours. Well, basically 2 hours. Hour and 47 minutes. And they're saying 2 hours of running or jogging equals 1,000 to 2,000 calories spent. I'm going to do more research on that tonight to see if that's true. So if you run for 2 hours, you're going to spend about 1,000 to 2,000 calories, depending on how you do it. And I have been keeping up with my hiking. My knee is feeling better. So the ACL is feeling a little bit better. I didn't notice any problems today. Okay, we're going to do about, not that Anne Retentive. This has cheese in it, so they like it. I didn't know cats ate cheese, but it's in the frisky stuff. I'm going to do about there. And that's it, kitty. Okay? So, that's all you get. I know it's not a lot. You're on a diet. Okay? I know you like it. Okay? But you're going to get that amount. Well, a little bit longer. I was going to go to 11. There weren't enough cigarette runs. We're dealing with a Sunday. I probably didn't need that Slim Jim monster thing. Here, move this way. Okay, kitty. Calm down. There you go. You finally get some. I'm going to leave the rest of that dry like that. Maybe shake it around a little bit so you can kind of get some of that. I'm trying to cut them dry and wet to see if we can get him down to a better weight. Here's the Fort Worth Weekly. I'm going to try to read some of this so I can do some reading. This could give me some ideas. We're going to go ahead and go right to the note card and vlog it tomorrow morning before we leave. So we're going to have the note card for the third major scene in Skinny Pete and Friends, the sequel to Better Call Saul. Originated by Vince Gilligan. I'm Cole Spivey. I'm just adding on, take it or leave it. I'll get a note card. When you're doing a headshot, you want to do probably emotional recall for laughter. You also can do something that I do, which is called imaginary recall. I always imagine this friend that made me laugh in high school. And so when I want my television one, I want to show you something. Here it is. Okay, so I'm kind of halfway imagining it because I'm filming it, but I'm imagining him making me laugh. He'd always make me laugh in high school. I'm not gonna tell you his name. There we go. I use him for every time I do television headshots. Because he would always make me laugh. There we go. Now, for serious, it was like for film, we're gonna go like this with mouth agape. Watch this. Like that. That's what I'm liking right here. Okay, now I'm just gonna do a selfie.